Yo, what's up guys? I'm Grandmaster Shaymin and welcome back to the channel. Today, yet another episode of Fatal 12. In the last episode, things got pretty intense as we heard number 9's entire backstory. We got some resolve for our main character, Rinka, but she still has yet to return an answer to Miharu's confession. So, we now find ourselves with Alan Scorpion's point of view. Alan Scorpion finds himself recalling the visit he received from Scale Jones, who sought to exchange information one day ago. He is alone, and in the same warehouse as usual. This gutted, abandoned place has become something akin to a home for him, quite the contrast to what he's used to living in, due to the fortune he has built up with his business. A vessel for the goddess. What he heard from Scale was rather hard to believe. The last remaining participant will become a means to allow Parka to remain in the real world. He was ready to chalk it up as nonsense at first, but he reconsidered when he heard that the claim came from none other than Hibinato Miharu. He had his doubts in both of the ideas of divine selection occurring before this and Miharu being its survivor, but after some consideration he decided to believe it. I mean, fair enough, it's a kind of a crazy story. But, with all the shit going on, I'm glad he came to that conclusion, though it does seem to make things a little bit more interesting as we continue. It wouldn't make any sense to believe in the dream world, but deny... It wouldn't make sense to believe in the dream world, but deny other aspect concepts surrounding the goddess. Scale has a suggestion to go along with the information he's provided, too. It involved getting information out of Shishimai Rinka by proposing the idea that everyone could survive. Alan had thought of this once before himself. It's possible to create a situation where no one can elect another person. Starting with number 1, all they would have to do is elect the following numeral, who would then protect themselves until the clock rotation was complete. In the proposed situation, Scale would pretend to have formed an alliance with Alan and Federico, and they would get the required information from her. The information would then be used to elect Rinka, a simple con, really. Scale's suggestion was one Alan might have gone along with had he made it sooner, or perhaps he would have gone along with it now had the target not been Rinka. I find it so cool that even though this guy tried to kill a child, still pointing that out, he finds Rinka so interesting and important of a character that he doesn't care. In other words, he turned down Scale's proposal. It's almost time. Alan produces a card as he speaks to himself. Federico Camerati's regret was what he revealed to Scale in exchange for the information. Alan was able to discern it from when he learned that Federico's ring was an old wedding band. However, he came to learn that Federico had no history of being married. What's more, the ring was made before he was even born. In this case, it had to be his mother's. Upon further research, he discovered that Federico was taken from his mother at a young age. There's no record of her death, though. Alan came to the conclusion that his regret involved meeting his mother once more. Lo and behold, he was correct. He shared that information with Scale. However, his eyes are set on the future, not the past. Alan knows that, based on his experience with you, a person's card will change to reflect their new regret. At first, he thought it was only due to you being a child, but even adults are subject to this should something cause a significant impact and alter the values they hold. Not only is the concept of regret dictated by one's own personal perception, but they also serve as a sort of emotion. It's fine with me. If it disappears, all I need to do is find it again. Soon after he said this, the card disappears into droplets of light. Audible gasp! Well now, someone won't be happy about this. Alan knows that Scale will be furious when the information he gained from their exchange disappears like this. So now his regret is eliminating Odette? Is that it? Or not being able to surpass her? Or... He's likely to figure out that Alan offered it to him knowing that this would happen, too. Of course, I doubt he has the luxury of worrying about that. Alan has a decent grasp of Scale's current situation. He doesn't have Scale's cards himself, but it's easy to assume that Miharu does, having survived her election by him. Alan knows for a fact that this applies to Rinka as well. As such, it's likely that Scale will try to target her. I already know where I stand. He sounds content with his decision, thinking back to the fire he saw in Rinka's eyes. So is he gonna give himself up for like, them? Yo, Tokyo Tower. I find myself peering down on the city alone. Tokyo Tower is famous enough that even I know about it. You can see the entirety of Tokyo from its observatories. Almost 2 months have passed since I first came to the country with Odette. Assuming everything goes smoothly, there will be 4 more rounds of divine selection. I guess enough's enough. It would have been all over for me yesterday if I were the same guy as before. I've done nothing but mull things over since eliminating Odette. I even cut out Scale. I'm genuinely on my own now. That's allowed me to notice something, though. Feelings inside me I hadn't realized were there. It was exciting to know that I'd finally reached the answer I'd been searching for, but with it came a sense of loneliness. It came to a head last night. My regret card disappeared. In its place, I received a new card with new content. Success. Kind of ironic, really. The one thing I always wanted. I've been a loser my entire life. Nothing changed when I grew up. Nothing changed when I joined and tried to leave the Mafia. Sure as hell didn't change after becoming a participant in Divine Selection. Part of me figured it'd be alright, though. Even if I was a loser, I'd come out on top in the end. I'm sure I'd have the last laugh. I, ch- I had myself chalked up as the protagonist of the world. I realized that was far from the truth thanks to Odette's elimination, though. I never once thought about succeeding or winning. All I've done is run away. Well, I was wrong. This entire time, deep down, I knew how pathetic and worthless I was. I'd been averting my eyes from the truth until now. I'll win no matter what. I don't have time to dwell on the past. It doesn't matter if I'm not the main character. I just want to say that I've made it. I knew it. I've been looking up to her this entire time. Federico makes his way from the observatory toward the emergency staircase. He casts his eyes up at the blue sky, deeply inhales, then exhales. Thought we'll see each other again. He takes out the ring he kept close to him all this time and throws it on to the horizon. Federico notices something important. This is the moment when his life truly began. Your life can only begin after you've died. Oh, here we go. Did he trick me? While shuffling through his cards in his possession, Scale witnesses Federico's regret card vanishing before his eyes. He obtained that card in exchange for invaluable information regarding divine selection. His disappearance leaves him more agitated than he was already. His agitation stems from his failure to form an alliance with Shishimai Rinka. He never once doubted that everything would go according to plan. After all, he heard about interactions with and the attachments to previous participants. Number 8 and 10 came first. It even extended to number 4 and 5, the former of which killed her classmate at one point. Oh, he had her pinned down as someone whose empathy prevented her from prioritizing herself at other people's expense. He even made up the story about his friend's death to take advantage of that. Oh, yo, he lied about it. Rinka had lost a friend before and is faced with the reality that another close friend is a participant of divine selection. Thus why Scale thought using a story about his friend could influence her the most. He was convinced that she was easy to manipulate. He knows for a fact that she believed his story. She believed it so much she felt bad for his supposed loss. And with Rinka on his side, Miharu would be sure to follow. He knew that Miharu's regret is Shishimai Rinka herself. That's why she plotted to drag her in through Rinka. The, the risk of both his own election and his information becoming privy to others would decrease through their alliance. Once that was sorted, he would get in contact with Federico again. He would provide him with Miharu's information and have him elect her. If everything went according to plan, the next round would see him elect Rinka, Federico elect Miharu, and Alan elect Federico, only leaving Alan and himself. Scale knows Alan has the means to gather information on others. Even if Alan has all of Scale's cards, all Scale would have to do is gather Alan's. He already prepared himself to deal with whatever Parka had in store when the elections were no longer possible. That was his plan to survive divine selection. Since when did Rinka get so resolute? When did things turn out like this? She made it crystal clear that she would elect him despite her newfound sympathy. Scale remains incredulous. Even so, he isn't one to let others decide his fate. Being at a standstill is his worst fear. A cameraman can't afford to give up so fast. He's a living definition of never giving up. No, a living definition of never giving up is do 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 do. I know what I'm doing is right. There's nothing more just than wanting to live. Pardon? The biggest issue right now is his impending election by Rinka. Her desperation when it came to saving her classmate was a sign that she's prone to being reckless for the sake of those close to her. Scale did his homework on the people who would be that to her. This includes her sole surviving family member, of course. What a dick. He's gonna kidnap the grandma. No! What? Ah, man. He's gonna kidnap the grandma. Saturday, after school. We only have classes in the morning today, so the plan is to keep the store open all afternoon. I'll keep it open all tomorrow, too. It's been closed pretty often this week, so the least I can do is make sure it's running normal hours during weekends. Doing so reduces the risk of Scale trying anything funny, too. I doubt I'll take any risks with people in the store, not to mention the fact that the street outside is fairly busy. Little do you know that your grandma is in trouble. I told him loud and clear that I had every intention of eliminating him. It's entirely possible he'll let his emotions get the better of him and try to get information out of me through less civil means. Do you mind if I have some coffee? Naomi has come with me today. We're taking a break from research today, so I told her to use her Saturday as she normally would, which led to her saying she wants to come over. I figure it would be fine as long as she doesn't go home too late. Sure, give me a sec. That makes Naomi the first customer of the day. Today's coffee is based on blends you can get at standard coffee shops, but with a little arrangement done by my Gran. We call it Gran's Blend. Not sour per se, but very bitter. I make sure to brew it by following the note she left for me, letting it steep for just the right amount of time before pouring it. Oh wow, this one's delicious as well. That's actually one of my Gran's favorite blends. She told me it was about time I ordered ingredients for it when we last spoke. Wait, does that mean... Yeah, a relative of the person she's taking care of is heading there for a bit, so my Gran might be able to come home for a day or so. I want to make coffee for her when she does. She'd always go on about how there's no bigger indulgence than sitting down with a cup of good coffee, so I want that experience to be my gift to her. I guess I've been indulging myself a lot then. She offers a shy smile. We grew close after she said the coffee I made was delicious now that I think about it. After our exchange, the day passes at a relaxed pace. Naomi spends her time reading a book, meanwhile I deal with customers like normal and flip through a cookbook whenever I have downtime. Once done with her coffee, Naomi poses a question. This might sound weird, but have you ever been in love before? My voice quivers. This is not a topic I can deal with right now. I've been reading stuff with romance in it, but it doesn't. But those don't bother me because it's not related. I can just imagine Rinka having this huge proposal from Miyanu, and she's like, "Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" And then she goes home and grabs shoujo manga and watches romance television shows, and she's just like, "What do I do? What do I do?" But when it is, oh boy. What makes you ask? Oh, the story I was just reading got me thinking. I was wondering what the difference between love and simply having an interest in someone is. Sorry, you're best off not relying on me for that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't care, but I've never given it some thought before. How about you? Me? Well, there's someone who's caught my interest at least. Wow! I never expected that. Then again, it makes sense she took charge for the Culture Festival. No doubt she made a lot more friends from that. She might have even gotten to know people from other schools. Could always be someone from her middle school, too. It might be admiration more so than anything else, though. Not to mention the fact that there are plenty of hurdles to overcome in order to confess. Like gender. Huh? Naomi's face flushes through my mind unexpectedly. Can't blame Naomi for her reaction. I doubt gender was the first thing to come to mind. I'm not too sure about all that myself. I was just... But I think the best way to get your feelings across is to give them a voice. The fact that Miharu was able to do that and confess to me is amazing. Meanwhile, I haven't been able to give her a reply. I'm such a loser. I'm just thinking about it makes me all embarrassed. That's why I try to forcibly change the topic. So, who grabbed your interest? Um, Sorry, I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that. Feel free to ask if something comes up, though. I'm not too reliable, but I'll do what I can to help. Okay. Your cheery response helps me settle down a bit, and gets me thinking. The moment feels as normal as they come, just a regular part of my daily life, almost as though we weren't in the midst of divine selection. But then the phone rings. Or not. Once I send today's report to my gran, I return home and find Leaf inside. You sure do turn up more often these days. Come here. I slither into bed and curl up with Leaf. I doubt anyone would judge me for spending a day like this every now and then. 2 hours of lazing about later, I decide to take a shower and go to sleep. Leaf is nowhere to be seen after I finish my shower. Why'd the music stop? Sunday. I get woken up by that god-awful ringtone on my phone. Well, why don't you change it? It's ringing far earlier than my alarm, judging by the time displayed. Then I notice that it's my gran calling, which jolts me awake. I'm definitely not looking to chat if she's calling me this early in the morning. Maybe I messed up yesterday's report. That, or maybe something happened with a relative. Now I'm making myself nervous. A deep breath, I accept the call. Hello? Hey! A gasp of surprise slips out of my mouth. This isn't my gran's voice on the other end. It's Scale Johnson's. He proceeds to speak, knowing I'm not about to waste my time asking questions. You'll never guess where I am. A little town up in Tohoku region. One you might know quite well, actually. He says the name of the town loud and clear, a small place with a small population, almost the exact opposite of Tokyo. That's where my gran was born, and where she's been since March. I'm sitting here with your lovely grandmother. Well, maybe that's not entirely accurate. I've taken the liberty of confining her inside a car a couple miles out of town. I could kill that old bag of bones like her with ease, but I'd rather not. The last thing I want is to afford you the opportunity to bring her back by eliminating me. That's where the car comes in. I slipped her some medicine, so she's sleeping tight, nestled in with a briquette. 2 secs. He uses his phone to send me a picture of the situation. As he said, she's tied up in the back of a car with a coal briquette tucked under her arm. The windows are taped up, too. How could you? I know exactly what he's hinting at. He wants to kill her through carbon monoxide poisoning. He can't. Don't. Calm down, calm down. You know where I'm going with this, right? You want my information, don't you? That way I won't be able to elect you. You've got 5 minutes. Type up your cause of death and regret along with relevant information and send it to me. She's a goner once those 5 minutes are up. Or, if you send me information I can't make out a card of. You realize that you're at risk if I kill her, right? In fact, you already are if word gets out that you've kidnapped her. Oh, don't worry. I'll be sure to pass this off as suicide, though. Let's say I do get caught. So what? I'll just be killed by you soon enough. You've got 2 options here. Save Granny or let her die. Simple. Assuming my theory is correct, you won't be able to bring her back so long as I don't play a direct role in her death. But hey, who knows? I could be wrong. Certainly won't be giving you the exact time to think about it, though. 5 minutes and counting. Got it? He ends the call right away. I can't help but scream. He's got my grandmother. He's kidnapped my one and only family member. I knew this was going to happen. God damn it. It must be possible to save her by eliminating him, even if worst comes to worst. I can't risk it, though. What do I do? I'll never be able to live with myself if I let her die. There's no guarantee that I'll be able to bring her back. What is guaranteed is she'll be safe if I die in her place. It's all my fault. An inability to realize that he would target someone other than me or Naomi caused this. My hesitation to speak to her about divine selection out of fear that she wouldn't believe me caused this. It's my fault, all mine. I opened up the messaging app on my phone. My fingers are trembling so much I can barely type. I don't have any time to waste, though. Just then, my phone rings. I think it's from my grand's phone at first, but it's a restricted number. A restricted number? Alright. We're gonna answer it. 10 seconds, that's all they get. If I'm lucky, it'll be the police calling to say that they've noticed something's wrong. That could lead to them being saved. Thinking that, I accept the call. It's me. Alan! The voice on the other end of the line belongs to none other than Alan Scorpion. What's with his timing? I don't know what he wants, but I don't have time to chat right now. God knows why he wanted to contact me now of all times. We must talk. There's no sense of concern at all in his tone. I should hang up. What a fucking no. Yeah, hang up. Sorry, but it'll have to wait. My family's in danger. I shout this in my phone and end the call before he can say another word. It almost sounded like he was laughing, which pissed me off. What the hell does he even want? I can't waste any more time. I try to focus on typing. All while praying that she's safe. I finish the message and send it in a hurry. Was that the right choice? Should I have heard him out? It might be just under 5 minutes. I pray that it's gone through, otherwise I get a call right after sending it. It's likely Scale with a new proposition after reading the message. You really are careless. The way you let your emotions get the better of you, it truly is similar, though. You're not Scale. Did you honestly believe he wouldn't harm your grandmother after you sent him your information? He's there! No way! Alan's a badass! Access to your info doesn't guarantee his safety. It's possible for both of you to elect and eliminate one another at the same time. If it were me, I would have left her in the mountains after obtaining your information, so that only I could save her. That would prevent you from electing me. Once you're gone, I would kill her to prevent word of what happened from getting out. I have no doubt he would have done the exact same. He only mentioned killing her in order to make you panic. The voice on the other end leaves me speechless. It isn't Scale speaking, it's Alan. It doesn't help that he's saying something so terrifying I'm still shaken. I deleted your message before he could see it, so there's no need to worry. I made sure not to look at it myself as well. Why would you? Actually, forget it. Is my grandmother there? Assuming this is your grandmother, she's out cold from the medicine. She has a number of small grazes, but she's otherwise unharmed. What a relief. Wait, no, she's more important, but still, explanation, please. So Alan saved the grandmother. Alan goes on to explain everything. Apparently he predicted that what Scale would do and followed him. As hard as it is to believe, he was actually hiding in the truck of the car that Scale was using. Not long after contacting me, he forced his way into the car proper, knocked Scale out, and saved my gran. Now he's driving back, having left Scale behind. Now I understand, but something more important's on my mind. Why did you save her? I mean, it indirectly saved me too. Are you looking to bargain with me again? I've said it before. The resemblance between you is what drives me. What's that mean? I find myself becoming more alert regarding how vague he's being. He quickly proves that I'm overthinking things, though. I have no intention of harming her. Feel free to come yourself if you don't trust me. He hangs up, and in doing so, avoids giving me a proper answer. I'm able to call back now because he used my grand's phone. But I guess its battery died or something. The sheer stress from it leaves me wide awake, making my attempt to get back to sleep completely futile. 5 minutes of wasted time later, I fire up my browser on my phone and book a ticket to Shinkansen. Alan's right. I can't just sit here not knowing what happened to my gran. Even assuming she's fine, there's no doubt that it's a terrifying experience for her. She's pretty tough, all things considered, but this has to be the first time she's been kidnapped by a random foreigner and forced to take sleeping pills. I doubt she'll be able to get over it for a while. I had planned on keeping the store open all day, but seeing her is far more important. I can't believe he saved her. Over half a day has passed since Alan saved Rinka's grandmother from Scale. He did so by predicting Scale's course of action and following him. Once Scale had made his move, Alan made one final check with Rinka. She acted exactly as he hoped. Rather than anticipate he would help her, she acted out of emotional instinct. Following that, Alan easily put a wrench in Scale's plan. So, okay, so if I would have heard him out, then that he would have been like, "Oh, you're not as frantic. You don't really want to save your grandmother, you're relying on me," type of thing. So he respects the fact that she's going to do whatever it takes to save her grandmother. And I mean, that's really cool, but this guy still tried to kill a child. It's ironic that I could imagine what I would do in this situation with such ease. Alan grew quite familiar with the two-way path of deceit as he explained his business. That's why he was able to figure out how Scale would attempt to survive without much issue. However, Alan now finds himself opposite of Scale's position, almost as if he had been gradually picking up the parts of himself that he had discarded long ago. This is nothing new for him. He is simply returning to where he once stood. You can't see the stars at night here. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I like his character, and I like his character development over the course of the series. As through the course of the visual novel, he started off as kind of a dude that's gonna do whatever he can to win, and over time he's sort of found out, there's something more important to surviving here, and he's kind of becoming more of a child, you could say. He's awestruck with how Rinka acts. He doesn't. I don't know. I really like his character. The town where Rinka's grandmother is staying is out on the countryside, wildly different from urban Tokyo. The Tohoku region, Tohoku region landscape is far more reminiscent of his own homeland. Once he sees the stars in the night sky there with ease. It's hard to believe there was a time I told people about their star signs. Memories of times long past are included in the pieces he finds himself picking up. While he hasn't forgotten about them, they have been little more than memories. Now, however, these memories carry meaning to him. I wonder, do you still find yourself counting the stars? He sighs and makes his way through town. He has no one to validate his chosen course of action. He feels satisfied despite that. The similarities truly are striking, though it may be accurate to say their personalities are one and the same. The resolve to stand up to something far greater than oneself, the special look in their eyes that choke the heart of anyone and stop them in their tracks, the tendency to let their emotions take over, making them vulnerable at the same time. Alan cannot help but smile. At this point, he may as well be fighting for her sake. I'll see this through to the end. It shouldn't be long now. His thoughts complete, he sets off and finds lodging for the night. No one would suspect that he was the young CEO of a flourishing company right now. Hardly surprising, he's nothing but a young man walking under the night sky during summer. I just gotta say, Alan's really, really a cool character. I really like how he has changed over the course of this visual novel, as I said before. But like that was really cool. He knows Rinka compares to someone as part of his family, which probably has to do with his regret more than likely. He's probably a family guy. Um, but I gotta say that it's just really cool of this guy. Um, I mean, he probably could live. He probably could use brute force and do that, but he finds himself not only that, but I'm sure he kind of like understands that he's done a lot more with his time, and that I don't know, maybe it's kind of reminding him of someone he knows. So maybe it's kind of like, well, I don't really want them to die, and they remind me of them. So Sunday evening, having taken the Shinkansen back to Tokyo, I returned to Lion House not long before the last train. I cast my mind back over today's events. I got on the first train available to see my gran. She was in the hospital. While fine, they said she had suffered a minor sprain. Even something like that can take a while to heal when you're old, so I'm a bit worried. Once we were alone, she told me everything that happened between midnight and the morning. She seems to remember both someone assailing her and someone saving her. Easy to guess which one Alan was. Apparently, he told her that Scale had kidnapped her for money. Not only that, but that he had also dealt with Scale. He recommended that she go to the police, but she opted not to. She believed that Scale would learn from this and regret his actions. If it were anyone else, she would have reported them immediately, but she was fine with it as long as she was the only victim. To that effect, she told the doctor that she twisted her foot in the bathroom. She's oddly stubborn at times like this. Once checked out of the hospital, we went back to her relative's house, where she made us some coffee. It had been so long since I saw her that I could feel my tear-filled eyes burning. Not because I was lonely or sad, but it was out of the relief knowing she was okay. She wasn't bothered in the slightest by how been running the store. In fact, she was happy that I was running it in her absence. It was most importantly, though, she said she was worried about me. That alone made me feel at ease. I was worried about how the store was doing, so I made sure to ask her about it. As I thought, Lionhouse was currently in the red. Apparently that wasn't an issue, though. I'm not too sure on the specifics, but my gran was making enough from her real estate venture to balance things out. She really did have everything together. It makes sense, if she's a real estate agent kind of on the side, um, or at least owns that kind of business, then, I'm going on well, not vacation. I'm going out for a few months to take care of someone who's extremely in bad shape. You know, I can afford to keep my shop closed for a while. There were plenty of things I wanted to talk to her about. School, the regulars at Lionhouse, Naomi and Mao, and even Miharu too. Most of all, though, divine selection, that and my determination to live. As it turned out, I couldn't bring up most of it. That was fine, though. I was able to remind myself I still had a place to call home, that my gran would be there for me. She was as strict as ever, though. The moment I let it slip that I had school tomorrow, she told me to head back home, and so I could make it on time. It'd take over 4 hours to get back, but even so, she was relentless. Her plans to come back next week got canceled thanks to her sprain, too. Instead, she said she would stay there until it fully recovered. It was fortunate she got away with something so minor, but I was a bit disappointed that I'd have to wait longer to treat her to some coffee. I had some parting words of wisdom for me, too. You shouldn't hate or resent people. What's important is getting to know them. So she said. I never once mentioned Scale or you, and yet it's like she saw right through me. Maybe it was easy to do when it involved someone you raised. I nod to myself in reaffirmation. Divine selection is tonight. I won't resent Scale if she's forgiven him. I still have every intention of eliminating him, though. That's a choice I've made for myself. In that case, there's only one thing I can do. Get to know and remember him. Having settled on that, I get myself ready to crawl into bed. Well, Divine Selection begins in the next episode, so make sure you click that like button down below for me because you already know your support is greatly appreciated. Leave a comment in the comment section down below for me and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next episode.